Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. Today's guest, I saw this man turn pro in Pittsburgh last September, and he's back in Pittsburgh to make his pro debut this weekend at the Pittsburgh Pro. He's a Classic Physique pro, Steve Laureus from New York. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Ron. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for having me. And this is my first time interviewing with you guys, so I'm sure it's going to be fun.
Okay, I'm a little scatterbrained. Things are going to go all over the place, so I'm just warning
It's okay. It's okay.
warning you ahead of time. I like to start sometimes with nicknames. You're called Mr. Propa on Instagram, which is Propahhh. Where did you get that one?
To be honest with you, I got the name from Louis Marco.
He says that a lot, doesn't he, Propa?
Yeah, he got, the only reason why that happens is I didn't have a social media.
Yeah.
I shut down my page because I think social media was very negative, and you put in so much hard work, and people just so easy to criticize your work, and they don't really know you as a person.
Right.
So I was under the radar because I love Dorian Yates. So I like to be very, very low key and just do my own thing.
Yeah.
So when he saw my physique and he says, it's a sight to be seen. Your name is proper, So, and a lot of the guys were commenting and said, yeah, this is proper, this is proper. So they gave me the name.
Okay, cool. On your Facebook page, you also have another nickname. I don't know if you gave yourself this one, Warden of the East Coast. Warden.
Oh.
So what does that one mean?
A friend created it. My friend created it. It wasn't me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
Because I'm not a social media guy, so I still don't know how it really works. So I'm not 100%. Maybe I'm like Cedric McMillan. It's so hard for me to keep up with a lot of things online. So.
can I ask how old you are?
I'm sorry?
How old are you?
I'm 32.
Oh, okay.
30.
Yeah. You're a kid, man. You grew up in this computer age. This should be.
I thought I was 31 the whole time because I told my coach I was 31. I was born in '86.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm 32 years old.
Yeah.
You just turned.
Yeah, I just turned 32.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got the nicknames out of the way. I was talking to Justin a little bit, trying to get some more info out of him about you. And you grew up in different parts of the world. Can you tell me a little bit about how you ended up here in New York, where you've been, where you've lived over your life?
Yes. I actually was born in Haiti.
Yeah.
And as a kid, my father actually was living in France. I lived with my grandmother and my mom.
Yeah.
So my mom ended up getting killed by the government.
Wow.
So, and also I have a sister that she actually, was murdered as well.
Jeez.
So
I'm sorry. This was the Duvalier regime, I'm assuming?
I'm sorry?
This is Papa Doc Duvalier was in charge of the country?
No, actually, no. It was around, I don't remember what president at the time, but it was around 96.
Okay.
So my father actually wanted me to get out of there. So my dad got me to go to France, and after that we lived there for a couple of years, and we moved to New York City.
Yeah.
So I have a stepbrother that was a really bad dude, so we didn't want to live in New York City because it was just so much trouble with him. So we moved to Long Island to escape from the city. So we came here, and ever since I've just been living here,
Yeah. Okay. So what kind of kid were you? What kind of sports did you play growing up?
I played many sports. I played soccer. I played basketball. Also I did martial arts. And even track too. Even track, I did track. So.
Which one were you the best at? Which did you get to the highest level at?
Actually, I would say martial arts, track, and also soccer.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were a grappler too, is that right?
Yes, okay. Grappler.
That's a lot of different sports for one guy. So, did you start weight training for sports, or was it later on after competitive sports?
No, after.
Okay.
That was after.
How did it start?
The very first time I saw, it was a magazine. I think it was an MD magazine, actually.
Yes.
I saw Ronnie Coleman was in a cover of the magazine, and I was a very frail kid. I was very skinny, never lift weights and did anything.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to do a project from school, for science. It was a science project. So I went to the library, and the guy was reading the magazine. He was a young kid. I think he was in his 20s, kind of jacked. And, I was looking at the cover sitting across, and I said, dude, can I see? And then he's like, yeah, sure. And I look at the name, and I went online. I started Googling and trying to see who this guy, Ronnie Coleman, was.
Yeah.
So, and because it's the biggest guy I've ever seen in my life,
Yeah, absolutely.
And he had a routine. It was a 2003 routine, I think he had. And I started training with my father. My father lifted weights,
Yep.
So, and with friends, I started doing that routine. So that's the routine I did for about 10 years.
Wow. You were doing Ronnie's routine.
His routine.
Wow.
Nowhere near the strength, but I did everything he did.
That's amazing, because that's a lot more than what most bodybuilders do. Because Ronnie was training 6 days a week, training everything twice a week. That's grueling.
I did 6 days a week, everything twice a week.
Wow. So how did your body respond?
Since I never trained before, and my body, the growth spurt that summer, I put on a lot of size, Yeah. So, and I was getting accused of I was on steroids in school, and, so.
That's when you're doing it right.
It increases your appetite, too. With the training, I was eating a lot more, but I didn't know anything about macros and, anything like that. So I was just doing my thing, eating and training.
So what would you say you weighed right when you started weight training?
I was 115 pounds in high school.
115?
Yes.
Wow. Were you 5'10" back then, or no?
Huh?
Were you the same height as you are now?
5'8", 115.
Wow, okay.
I was in 9th grade.
No, so good for you. Wow.
So when I started training, by the time I graduated high school, I was 185.
Wow. So you followed Ronnie's routine, would you say, for 10 years?
Yes.
Wow. So why'd you stop? Did eventually you realize it was ridiculous for you?
No, well, I got to a point, I got into a car accident in 2012, and things weren't the same anymore. I got a herniated disc on my lower back and one in my neck. That's why I don't grapple anymore, too. So, but last year was such a hard year. Even training back for me was very hard. So I'm just now starting to get back to a normal routine, because my coach worked around a lot of different, exercises, to not, cause any damage. Yeah. But I couldn't do anything last year for my back,
Wow.
So
I'm interested because, I've had back problems. I know a lot of people watching this can relate, but I'm curious as to what exercises were like impossible for you for a while, or maybe some still are.
Even seated rows was hard for me.
Wow.
Seated rows was very painful. Anything bending over was very painful. I started doing a lot of myofascial release. That's what I do for a living, actually.
Yeah.
I have a guy, Mark, he's the most hands-on guy I've ever seen. He's a German dude, Yeah. So he started doing a lot of myofascial release and acupuncture, and that kind of helps a lot. Yeah. And also building my strength, because, when you train, it's physical therapy. So eventually your muscles is going to get strong again. So it's not going to, as long as you're not aggravating it, compressing the nerve, and you should be fine.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm going to jump all over the place. I'm a big believer in massage therapy, deep tissue. I encourage all bodybuilders out there to at least try it. I think it has all kinds of benefits. What does it do for you? Because you're obviously a high-level athlete. What would happen if you didn't get massages on a regular basis, and what benefits do you get from them?
The benefits I get, well, myofascial release, even if you Google it, it's the most hands-on therapy there is. There's nothing like it. I have nothing against grafting, but I feel like it's popular here. It's a therapy that was there since India. It's called gua sha. The Americans they just take a lot of things from the Oriental part, and we actually change the names and we do things. Right. But you can't do that much work with just scraping your skin. So there's a lot more work hands-on. If you get a real hands-on myofascial release, it's called the anatomy trains. it's different. You know, you can it's lengthening the connective tissue from the origin and insertion points. So whatever is contracting and has adhesions, you know, it's breaking up the adhesions in the scar tissue. So you have more mobility to move around. There's more blood circulating, you know, to the tendon. So it's a better recovery from anything else I've tried.
Does Myofascial release use tools the same way Graston does, or no?
No.
No. Okay.
Strictly hands-on. Another thing that's cool about it, like the hand can go at least 3-4 inches deep in the body. That's how deep you can go with myofascial release. It's basically someone is taking your whole skin off. It's the most painful thing there is. So, you know.
Here's a good question, because I've always wanted to ask a massage therapist who is also like a bodybuilder. You know, there's so many massage therapists out there. How do you go about finding one that's really well qualified to work on someone with a lot of muscle? Because I've had some horrible attempts over the years, and I've had some good people. But how do you know? How do you know someone's really good at working with someone that's muscular?
That's a great question. Actually, there's many different type of myofascial release, you know? Yeah. So when you Google someone that does Rolfing, it's called Rolfing. Yep. You know, Rolfing is the most qualified therapist there is. Now, physical therapists are learning what they do. So those are massage therapists, you know, that, you know, they call those guys master therapists. If you go, like in Manhattan, there's a few guys that do that. In Long Island, it's hard to find them. Those are the most qualified therapists. If you Google a Rolfer near me or whatever location, you'll find them.
Okay. Do you do Rolfing?
No. The guy that I went to Maine, his name is Dr. Thomas Myers. Yeah. You know, in my opinion, he's the best therapist in the world. He's the one that created, you know, myofascial release. And the Rolfing is too rough for a lot of people. So the technique anatomy trains is a lot easier on the body. Okay. You know.
Let's go back to your story. So when, at what point had you been training where you realized, or maybe someone else pointed it out to you, that you were different, that you were developing, you know, you had a physique blossoming that most people just don't have. You had a gift for this. When did you realize that?
Well, still now, when people tell me that I look great, and you know, I still believe that I could be better. You know. So I think another thing is I never been satisfied with the way I look. Still now, with the improvement that me and my coach made in 10 months.
Justin Miller, by the way. Justin Miller, your coach.
So in 10 months, he always pushed me harder, you know. Yeah. So sometimes I get to a point, even during a set, it would be my second set. You know, I'm beat. I'm pretty much wiped out that's how much he pushes you. But I never thought that I had a great physique. I still don't think that, you know, people say that. I'm not fooling you. I'm being honest. I just feel like, you know, I'm still not satisfied with. I'll be satisfied if I could look like a 93 flex wheeler, yeah. So I'll be satisfied, you know. Yeah. But a lot of friends used to tell me, because, you know, I never competed. It took me a long time to even step on stage. Right. You know, so I was approached by a guy in Vegas named Louis Zwick. He's a Musclemania president.
I worked for Lou for 9 years, right in the same office right next to him. So I know Lou and Musclemania very, very well. Please continue.
Yeah. Well, he approached me, and, you know, as I was walking in Vegas with my girl, and, you know, he says, you know, have you ever competed before? And I said, no. He's like, God, he's like, I would like to take a look at your physique. And I think it was awkward because I said, you know, who the hell is this guy? But he gave me his card, and, you know, I went to the show they had. The guy Ulysses was competing at the time. Yep. So, and he came up to me, and then he took me backstage. I saw the guys, and he's like, but at the time I had really crazy legs, you know, so he told me that my upper body has to catch up, you know, with my legs, and he put me into a show, you know, it was at the Foxwood. Yep. I got the overall, and then I did the Universe 6 weeks after that, so, yeah. And
you won your class there too, we should say.
I won the overall.
You won the overall, and that was your first 2 shows, right?
Yes, yes.
I gotta ask, how did that sit with the other guys backstage or on stage with you that have been doing that for 10, maybe 20 years? This kid from New York, never been on stage before, comes and kicks all their asses. They must have been butthurt. Oh well.
It was a great experience, man. I had, because he gave me one shot to turn pro in Foxwoods and to go against the pros. The guys, they were very humble. When I stood in the lineup, I was only 189. I weigh in the morning, 189. Yeah. And even the guys that came up, it's like, dude, what the fuck? Had the symmetry, Yeah. So they were very nice guys, and they all said I was going to win. So I was like, okay, so, whatever, it's brand new. So, and yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, Justin just posted a little collage on his Facebook page with 4 pictures of you. It said, you can't teach shape. And, your body weight, on paper, you're 5'10", like 210, 212 pounds right now.
Yes, yes.
If you just saw those numbers, you'd think, because these 212 guys are like 5'3", some of them. But, your waist is 27 inches or something ridiculous. Your joints are just tiny, and the muscle bellies just flow out of nowhere. So when you talk about that Flex Wheeler 93 look, that's not so far out of your realm of possibility with another, 15, 20 pounds of muscle. Maybe not even that much. This is a sport of illusion. I've seen plenty of guys who they step on a scale and it says 260, 270, but they look like a mailbox when they get on stage. It's not pretty. You have a real pretty physique. The first time Justin was sending me pictures, maybe a month before the North American last year. And first he's like, I got to send pictures of this new client. I'm like, yeah, whatever, because prep coaches always hype up their guys, and they always think their guys are awesome. And at least half the time I see the pictures, I'm like, nah. But this time I was like, oh my, wow, this guy's the real deal. And sure enough, you were a pro a month later. So Justin knows what he's doing.
He told me about the conversation you had, but it was me. I was a pain in the ass. I didn't want to be in front of camera. I didn't want to do anything with social media. Yeah. I was rejecting. I was very cranky at the time too, and so I was rejecting a lot of things. I said, I don't want a social media. I don't want this. Even photos, for him to take photos of me was always a problem. I always never wanted him to take photos too. But I trust him, and I've been into situations during this prep. It's the hardest prep I've ever had to go through, because of what's been happening in my life. It's like every week there's something different that would set me back.
Yeah, we got to talk about this, because I called up Justin to see, what can I ask Steve, because I'm sure all I'm going to ask about is, how long you've been training, the usual crap. And he told me this prep, you've been through some shit. So you're a massage therapist. You worked at 2 different places, and one of them burnt to the ground not that long ago?
Yeah.
Wow. So what happens in a situation like that?
I thought things were going to be fine, but because the location is so far from the other location that we have, the other office, so the clientele, a lot of the clients, they don't want to drive down there, and the business has been a little down too, because around this time it gets a little slow too. So we lost about 40%, I would say 30 to 40% clientele. But me, because I was there more often, I was there 3 days a week. Yeah. So I lost about 50% of my clientele.
Wow, damn, dude, I'm sorry.
It's a major setback,
I got to ask again something about massage therapy, because I always wondered. It seems like very hard work. I would probably have carpal tunnel syndrome within a month of doing that job. Is it physically tough for you to do that for, he said you were doing it for like 10, 12 hours a day at times with all those sessions. Then you have to go, how do you even have the strength to hold on to your weights and stuff after your hands have been, and your forearms and your shoulders have been doing that kind of intense work all day?
Honestly, if you learn a good stand, it's called a Tai Chi stand. So if you do the Tai Chi stand, you don't get physically exhausted, on your shoulders and your hands, and I think just because I work out my whole life, I have strong arms, strong forearms, so I'm able to. But the main body part that pay the consequences is my legs and my back, because I get a lot of back pain, and also my legs. I would retain water in my legs because it's prolonged standing. You know,
Yeah,
I've been there.
you're on your feet the whole time.
Yeah.
You got no choice. Said you also had like several flat tires. This is like a terrible time to get a flat tire.
It was just weird. I didn't even want to tell him about that because I didn't think he would believe me. I was getting a flat tire every week.
Wow.
And, you know, it was like every Tuesday and Wednesday I get a flat tire. You know, I lost my wallet in the gym with child support money in it. It's been a lot of things happening, you know.
I hope you were checking your tires to see if it was like a puncture. This could be like one of your rivals or something.
All four tires. It was a different tire every week, basically, you know. Okay. And I got the tire done, you know, last week, and actually I had another one a couple of days ago. I didn't tell you. You know, yeah. It's the rim. I hit a pothole and the rim kind of cracked. You know, so and then the tire went flat again. So
yeah, you guys got those moon crater potholes over there like we do in Boston. They will take away your rim for sure.
Yeah.
He told me a story. I don't know if you want to repeat the story, but I thought it shows your character and how mature you are. That somebody was giving you a lot of trouble in the gym. We're talking about Bev and Steve's Powerhouse in Syosset. Just for, you know, taking some progress pics in the gym. Can you tell us about that? Because I was floored when he told me this story.
Well, you know what? I just think, you know, I'm getting to an age now. Yeah. I have a lot more to lose than that guy. He's a younger guy that, you know, he's pretty set with a girl that has, you know, a lot of money. You know, so they have a lot of things going on, you know, and I know about them. And the guy, he's a pretty nice dude. He talks to me all the time, but apparently that day, when he started the fight, I was very shocked. I didn't know what to say because I said, "Is this the guy?" You know, because it was weird, you know. Yeah. But pretty much he punked us. He punked us in the gym, and you know, we didn't want any problems. I just wanted to. I was 3 weeks out at the time, and you know, all I said to him, I said, you know, dude, we don't want any problems. We're done here, you know. So I don't want to fight you or whatever.
To clarify, you were just taking pictures. He was upset that you had dropped your pants to take a full body picture in the gym while his girlfriend was like around, right? That was his problem?
Right. Yeah. That was the problem he had, and you know, he told us we need to go to the posing room, we need to ask permission, it's disrespectful, he'll punch me in the face, he's gonna beat me up. You know, he says, you know, the muscles that I have on doesn't mean anything, it'll be quick. It was a lot of things he was saying that was very you know, very offensive and loud in the gym, you know. Yeah. So, and my coach kept it cool too. So, you know, I thought he was gonna just get upset, and you know, he handled the situation. He was upset, of course, you know, because talking to us like that, of course. But you know, we handled the situation. I have so much to lose. I can lose my sponsorship. Right. You know, someone take a phone and record that and put it online. Me fighting a dude in the gym during, you know, my prep. It's not a good look. You gotta be smart and think.
No, I mean, for anybody out there, especially young guys, because they're always threatening to beat each other up online and stuff. You know, this is 2018. Everybody sues everybody. Everybody prosecutes everybody. It's not like the old days where people just go out in the parking lot and settle things, and that was the end of it.
Yeah,
rarely, you know, a fight is rarely the end of anything these days.
What's interesting, I went up to the guy a couple of days after that. I went up to him. I said, dude, what was that on Saturday? I'm sorry, you know. I said, I just don't want any negative energy. I was trying to shake his hand. He looked at my hand. He's like, no, we're not cool. He was like, keep your pants on, you know. And he started getting angry again as I approached him. But Steve Weinberger handled the situation the right way. And he was very, you know, pleased. You know, he was very pleased the way I handled the situation. And he was upset. He was getting ready to throw the guy out of the gym. So
I can imagine pissing Steve off in his gym. I wouldn't do it personally. I wouldn't do it. All right, so let's get back. Again, we're traveling back in time. So you did the Musclemania shows. You won their biggest title, really, the Universe. That's the biggest thing. So there wasn't really anywhere for you to go from there. How did you find out about? You must have been aware of NPC, IFBB, and all that. But how did you make the transition where you decided this is where I need to be if I'm going to make something out of this?
Well, with the Musclemania thing, it was he promised me a lot of things. Those two shows, I won those shows. He wanted me to come back for the world title. The Universe is like an Arnold Classic for them.
Okay.
So I had only 4 months to get ready, and he wanted me to come on stage 15 pounds heavier.
Wow.
So I said, and to maintain lean and to promote my physique on social media, because they had control of it. And I told him, I said, how do you want me to do that? I said, there's no way, you know.
Yeah.
And he says, you know what to do, and you know. So,
okay. Wow.
yeah. And I had to make a decision on. I said, you know what? Let me just take my time, and you know, maybe I'll come back next year and stuff like that. So we agree on it, you know. And I didn't compete that year, so I came back with the Classic Physique. It was a brand new division. I think it was best fit for me.
Yeah.
To just go to that division, and it's around the corner. Steve Jim is there, and you know, and I met a lot of people at Bev's, and they all talked me into it. So I think it was the best fit for me, you know.
Yeah, and you won. The first show you did was the New Jersey Classic. You won that, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And then that was not that far, a couple months before North American, right?
Yes, it was 4 weeks before, 2 weeks before North American.
So, I mean, when you say Classic's a good fit, I would have you, like, based on the pictures I'm looking at now, and this is no disrespect to any of the top pros in there, but I could easily see you in the top 5 at the Olympia this year, based on what I see, and I'm objective. You know, there's some poses I don't think are awesome, but most of your poses are just wow, just jaw dropping. You know, the shape, the bicep peaks, the V taper, the quad sweep. So, you know, you definitely made the right choice, right move with that. But Justin was also telling me you might not always be in Classic. You might eventually move on to bodybuilding. Is that right?
Yes, okay. That's correct.
Yeah. What's your long range plan? Like, what would it take to keep you in Classic? If you're like one of the top 5 or top 6 Olympia guys this year, would you definitely stay in Classic and try to keep climbing that ladder?
Well, I thought about it. You know, I just feel like my teammate George at the Olympia got 3rd.
Yeah.
You know, he walked away with $4,000. Yeah. You know, with everything he went through, there's not enough money in Classic. Yeah. I'm a family guy. I have a son. Right. You know, I work hard every day. So I just think the prize money in Classic is not, you know, it's about survival, you know.
Right.
It's not enough. You know, so, and also I just think, you know, if I take my time towards the Arnold next year, you know, to put on some muscle, you know, I have some time for that. Yeah. You know, so I'm not saying that, you know, I'm going to go out there and beat everybody at the Arnold, but I would just take my chances there because we have a good strategy. If I want to go that route, you know, me and my coach, we have a good strategy. Yeah. You know, I just feel like with the situations that I'm going through right now, you know, with all the money and the food, the prep, and you know, everything, just to go there and compete, you know, and then just the prize money is just not enough.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, you see, Phil Heath gets $400,000 for winning Mr. Olympia, and then what's Classic get? How much was the first prize?
$20,000.
$20,000. That's a big difference.
Huge difference.
And I think 212 is probably. I don't think Flex Lewis gets much more than that. Maybe it's 25 or 30.
40.
Oh, is it 40? Okay, still.
40. Yeah.
So that's only 10% of what Phil Heath is getting. Yeah, I mean, open bodybuilding is still. We talk about, you know, even in MD, we're always talking about Classic is the big thing, and it's definitely breathed new life into the sport. But the money and the prestige is still open bodybuilding. I don't really see that changing. I see Classic getting more popular, but yeah. I
just think Classic is more marketable. I think when if a Classic bodybuilder is walking down the street, you know, you would prefer looking like that. You know, it's a beautiful look. You know, it's different. You have a limit. You don't want to overdo it. You know, with the weight class. And most kids in magazines would most likely want to have something like that on the cover, you know, because it's more approachable, it's more marketable, so it can actually open a lot of doors for a company if you actually, you know, the face of a company. Yep. You know, so if they up the prize money, definitely, I'm considering doing it, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, because. You know, the argument is that nobody wants to see the freaky guys anymore and the bubble guts and all that, but you talk to the people who are paying $1,000 for VIP tickets at the Olympia, and they're coming over from Germany or, you know, from all around the world. Who are they coming to see? They're coming to see the open bodybuilders. You know, I love the classic division. I think it was a great move to add that to the sport. And like you said, it's an attainable look. It's a healthier look. The symmetry, the aesthetics. I think classic's awesome. I just think there's always going to be a strong market for open. So if you eventually move on to open, I totally get it, and I would support your decision if I was, you know, your friend or your coach or whatever. I'm sure Justin over there is nodding his head. So.
You're right about that. He's actually doing that.
So, you know, I've been to Bev's a couple times. I've never had the chance to train there. Tell me what that place is like, because you've been there for a while now, right?
Yes. I've been there. It's been a year and a half, I think. I've been there, you know, or maybe longer.
Yeah.
It's the best leg section in the gym you would ever see. You know, the machines. You know, there's certain angle at the Tom Platz machine. Yeah. There's certain machines in there. You know, they don't make them anymore. You know, and back too. You know, they have many different variety of leg extensions and, you know, leg curls, and even for calves. You know, and it's a great environment. There's good supporters in the gym. There's good people there. You know, so I just love being there, especially the pros. The pros are very respectful. Like Juan Morel is a big fan of, you know, is a big fan. He's always supporting me. Max Charles he always say the same thing. And these guys, they support each other. You know, and I couldn't say anything wrong about, you know, about those guys and the environment, people, and it's just great. It's a great environment to train.
And I'm so lazy, I hate to drive. So how far of a drive is it for you from home?
Not far, 15-minute drive.
No, that's not bad at all. Not bad at all.
I'm just a few exit away.
Okay. I was watching some of your Redcon videos to try to get an idea, you know, what to talk about. And one thing that sort of impressed me is that you start every day off with a little prayer. You give thanks and everything. I only mention this because, you know, we're in a time now where it's almost looked down upon to have faith and belief in a higher power and have religious beliefs. And you know, I commend you for not being afraid to put that out there, that you do have your faith in God, and that you don't give yourself credit for all this. You know that you recognize that we have a creator, and there's a higher power that's responsible for the blessings that we have. So, you know, props to you.
Well, thank you. I just think that, you know, so many things can go wrong when you leave your home. You know, so there's car accidents, there's many things, you could be murdered. So I feel like going to work every day, you drive, you make it home to your family. It's a very, very grateful thing to, you know, to have life, to go back to work the next day. So I always get on my knees at night too, before bed, and say thank you to God, you know, that I made it home. Yeah. Some families doesn't have that chance. They just didn't have that opportunity because the father, the mother could just go and something happened. They just didn't make it. Yeah. So to me, it's a big thing to make it home every day.
Yeah, you know, and, you know, not one day is ever guaranteed for any of us. You know.
Yep, absolutely.
I think America woke up on 9/11 to that fact. It's like 1 minute you're here, and the next minute, 2,000 people gone, just like that.
Yep.
You know. Another thing I was impressed. It was interesting in your video is that you structure your training year. And I don't know if you still do this, but into 9 months of, you know, heavy training and eating, and then you take 3 months to sort of let your body recover and recuperate. You know, did you get that from Ronnie Coleman? Because Ronnie did something very similar to that.
Actually, I think the only bodybuilder I think I followed that did similar, it was Kevin LeBron.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, so I just believe that whatever you introduce to the body, you know, for a certain amount of time, it doesn't respond the same way. You know, it's almost like you have a car, you drive it every day. You don't change the oil in the car, you know, and you just drive the car every day. You're putting mileage. So if you're living over 25 years in your life, you know, you're doing something that you love, you need a break from it. You need time to recover. Your mind needs to be sharper when you come back to it again. You know, I think with training is very similar. I think, you know, at a certain time, so much wear and tear on your joints, your ligaments, you know, they just need a break. Yeah. You know, you're constantly causing inflammation in your body. And with everything you take, the products you're dumping into your liver, your kidneys and stuff, you know, it doesn't respond, you know, to a point that your body, you don't look as good, you know, you need a break.
Right.
You know, so the recovery is a big thing, huge thing.
So how would you structure it? Do you take a whole block of time completely off training, or do you train lighter, just do cardio? What do you do?
Now I train lighter because before I used to stop. I used to stop for 3 months. You know, I live life, just, you know, just eat whatever I want, just relax, just introduce a complete different thing to my body.
Yeah.
But now, you know, because of bodybuilding, you know, I still maintain, you know, a little bit of training just to not lose that much muscle mass.
Right.
So just to always keep things there a little bit. But I would juice for a few weeks. You know, I would do a lot of strong compounds like cayenne pepper, turmeric, ginger. I think the first 15 days sometimes I do 6 cups a day of juicing with no food.
Wow.
You know, you don't get hungry. You don't get hungry, you know, when you do it. It just cleanses, especially the beets. The beets creates blood in the blood marrow. It just refreshes it flushes everything in the liver, you know, and also it creates, you know, it gets rid of inflammation.
Yeah.
You know, turmeric does the same work. And cilantro, which is another big, you know, factor.
Yeah.
The cilantro, if you were actually on medication, some doctors doesn't want you to take it because it can pull out everything that's in the body. Even heavy metal is if someone eat a lot of mercury and fish and stuff.
Right.
So it's very strong compounds. It just cleans your whole body.
See, I always wonder, because we eat so much protein as bodybuilders, I often wondered if it would be a smart idea to take, like you said, you do 2 weeks of just juicing, so you would have no protein in that time, right?
No protein.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if that's something we should all be doing, like once or twice a year, but none of us do.
When your body has a lot of protein, especially in your kidneys, you know it.
Yeah.
You know, when you use the bathroom, you will notice that your urine is very foamy. There's a lot of foams coming out of your urine.
Yikes.
So that means there's too much protein going into the kidneys, and the kidneys will work harder, especially if you're not, you know, drinking, you know, a lot of water. So the best way, I think it's called bilirubins, you know, so it just get into the kidney, you know, it can do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So your kidneys are working twice as hard. So the best way of doing that is by flushing the system with a lot of water and those, you know, like turmeric and stuff like that, juicing. So you need a couple of days for the body to really start and to process that stuff to clear out your whole system. You know, but I maintain lean. I maintain lean, just a little size. I didn't lose that much size, to be honest, you know. So our response is very, very strong.
Right on. So let's go back in time to, it was early September, I think you turned pro in North American, right? So here you are. You've only been competing in the NPC IFBB for a very brief time, and now it's almost like starting all over again. So what did you think? Here I am a pro. Where do I go from here? What was the strategy? What did you come up with for a game plan to move forward from there?
Well, Pittsburgh is the #1 thing right now. I just feel like, you know, crossing over Pittsburgh, we have a lot of talking to do, you know, because to that point, I don't know what I really want to do. I have my sponsor, CEO, Aaron Singerman. He's going to come and speak to me and my coach this weekend. You know, so there's a lot to talk about, and he's been a very strong person, you know, supporting me through everything I've been going through, you know, and we don't really know, you know, what we're going to do, you know, so I just wanted to focus on this show first and just see what we're going to do from there.
Because 3 weeks later well, actually it's 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks is New York Pro.
Yes.
That's even closer for you. You got to be doing that too, right?
We're not sure if we're going to do the New York Pro.
Oh.
The agreement I had with he's one of my best friends on the team. His name is Amit Roy.
Amit Roy, yeah, I know him. Sure.
So Amit decided that he was going to do the New York Pro. You know, as a classic guy. So I decided to do Pittsburgh because the Arnold was just too close.
Right.
You know, I needed to qualify for the Arnold too. So I'm just going to stick with the plan. You know, that's what we agreed on, and I'm not just doing it because I don't want to go against the guy or whatever,
Yeah.
but we just made our mind. That's what I wanted to do.
Okay. So what improvements have you made since you turned pro? What can we expect to see different from you this time?
I add on 10 pounds of muscle,
Wow.
And also I made major improvement on my back, my hamstrings.
Yeah.
It's a lot better, and conditioning is the #1 factor too for us.
Yeah, because your back, it's funny you say that because I was looking at a rear double pose from I think last year, maybe around the same time, or later on in the season, and what I just saw the other day is wow, night and day. Your back is, is part of that because you're able to train your back a little better now too.
Yes, I can train now. I can definitely train.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm having trouble with now is squatting. We're getting there. I was getting to a point, I was able to squat, but anything over 315 was hurting my knees a lot because I'm double jointed.
Oof.
And so I'm double jointed, and also my buddy Mark that normally do the myofascial release on me said, when the quad is so dominant in comparison of your hamstring, sometimes the muscle that crosses the knee, the patella, can over push the patella, so it creates so much pressure in the knee when you put anything heavier.
Yeah.
So it would create a tendonitis, in the patella.
So your quads are really good though. I mean, do you really need to squat more than 315?
I felt like I'm just being honest. I think my quads were bigger when I was younger.
Okay.
That was the #1 thing I used to. Yeah.
I mean, do you think they were really bigger, or your upper body has grown to the point where they look like they're not as big?
I didn't have good hamstrings, but my quads. I used to train with a buddy of mine. I think my legs are bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think everything else grew.
Yeah.
I think everything else grew. I don't believe him. I think everything else just caught up.
That's what I'm thinking based on the pictures. I've looked at pictures going back to your Musclemania days, and you had really big legs, and your upper body had great shape, but the size. I want to say that the 20 pounds you put on since your Musclemania days is pretty much all from the waist up. So that's why. I don't think your legs have lost anything. I think it's just your upper body's. It's grown that much. It makes it look like your legs are down, but they're not. So everyone's going to ask, because Bumstead gets this question all the time, is how do you keep your waist so small? Your waist is like a little girl's.
That's funny.
It's true.
I think it's just genetics. I think it's just genetics, and I never really did ab training, so I think that's a one of the factors too. I just started doing some ab training now because I think my abs needed to be a little more muscular. Yeah. And also, I was a soccer player, so it's a lot of soccer players, as I'm not saying they have tiny waists, but, they have a very good structure.
Yeah.
So
Genetics.
it's just genetics.
Do you avoid weight? A lot of people will say don't use weights on your ab training. It's going to thicken up your core and you're going to get a wider, thicker waist. Do you believe that?
I don't believe that. To be honest, I don't believe that.
Okay.
It's a muscle. It can grow. It can grow. But I just think certain guys that's out there competing right now in the pro rank, like what's his name? The second guy,
Ahmad?
Sean Roden.
Oh, Roden. Yeah.
Sean Roden has a very tiny waist, and compared, like he has big legs,
Yeah.
There's other guys. I think Dennis Wolf didn't have a big waist.
Right.
So I think it's all genetic. Chris Bumstead lift heavy weights.
Juan and Max.
Juan Morel.
Yeah.
It's
you're right when you say genetics, because Bumstead has a column in MD, and I threw that question at him last month. Is how have you kept your waist small? And he says, I've never done anything specifically to keep my waist small. He squats, he deadlifts, he does all these things that are supposed to blow out your waist and give you this big gut. And he's got a waist like you, no waist. So
yeah, it's just genetics.
Yeah. So I know you're focused on this show, the Pittsburgh Pro. You don't want to think ahead or anything, but I have to do my job and ask. Let's say you win this. I know you're not going to do New York because you didn't plan on doing that, but vaguely, what might be your game plan from May until the rest of the year? what might end up happening for you?
You know, I think the best thing for me, you know, is just to rest, and, you know, depends on what me and Aaron talks about on what we're going to talk about for the next season, and my coach. So we all three of us are going to sit down after Pittsburgh and find a game plan for us. But I feel like the more time I take off to let my body heal and to put on more muscle for next year, you know, I'll be stronger coming on stage next year.
Okay, so you would probably take the rest of this year off.
Probably, yes. I'm probably not going to do the Olympia. The Olympia is not even a question for me right now. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do it.
I mean, could that change if, like, some of the big wigs, let's say you win Saturday night, couple very important people from IFBB come up to you and say, you should do the Olympia. Would that maybe change your mind? Maybe?
If the only way that would happen, you know, if, you know, money is the issue. You know, money is always the issue.
Yeah.
If I don't want to sit and say I want to become a full-time bodybuilder and just rely on a sponsor to just give me, you know, all the money in the world. I want to work at least 25, 30 hours a week, just, you know. But if anything else is going to compensate from what I'm going to lose from work, not working 12 hours on my feet, if I can work a couple days and, you know, like 3 or 4 days instead of 6, 7 days, you know, and 8 hours a day, you know, I would have a normal life to focus, get my meals in, to train, to rest a certain time, not going to bed at 2 in the morning like I always do.
Wow.
So it would be very different for me to come back. It's going to be better. It's going to be a lot better for me to come back stronger for the Olympia. But if that doesn't happen, there's no way I can do that. I think mentally I'm kind of like worn out, you know. It's not going to happen.
So you just said 2 in the morning. How much sleep have you been averaging? I'm just curious now.
Last prep was the worst. I was getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Oh, no.
But now the sleep right now is very important for me. So I'm getting at least 6 hours, 6.5 hours.
Still not enough. You know, for a high-level competitive athlete like yourself, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're managing and you look great, but I have to wonder, 8 hours of probably you'd look even better.
I would love to get 8 hours of sleep.
Because Justin's in the room, I'm going to put you on the spot and say, what makes Justin Miller a great coach?
Wow, man. You know what? Since he's here, I don't want to make it sound like he pays me to tell you these things. So
embarrass him, please. Go for it.
You know, it's been situations that he actually purchased my meals for me. You know, he purchased my meals for me. Like the whole situation I had a couple weeks ago, I had nothing. I was wiped out, no money. You know, he took me to Total Nutrition and got me a lot of meals, you know, just to, you know, bring me back alive a little bit, because I was kind of down about the whole thing. And if there's anything going on in my life, he knows, you know, he can tell. And he would constantly asking me over and over again, you know, Steve, if you're not mentally there, I'm going to pull you out of the show. We're going to find a different strategy, you know, and he pushes you through your workouts. And there's times that he doesn't take anything from me, you know. So for the sessions, you know, and this man is here right now with me for 5 days, and he's losing money in the gym.
Right.
So he's going to be making $300 a day at the gym, you know. So, and, you know, if his wife knows about it, she'll hate me for that. You know? So,
Maria, don't watch this interview, Maria.
So it's you know, I don't have any. I don't know how to say thank you to him. You know, he's a great friend, a great coach. Yeah. You know, it's not just me; it's everyone else. He's always there for George. He's even Arash. You know, he developed a great friendship with Arash. Still one of the most respectful guy, you know, in our team. You know, he's just a very, 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 very nice person.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to give you the chance just to say that, because I know from talking to Amit that Justin's, you know, he's a lot more than a coach to you guys. He's a really good friend, and he cares. And there's so many coaches out there that are just in it for the money or for their own glory, and Justin's not like that. Justin's in this to make you guys, you know, achieve your goals and make you better athletes. And, you know, he's a good dude. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome, man. You deserve it. Well, that is all I have for you. I appreciate it very much. I know you got to be tired, probably hungry by now.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, dip in here so we can see you.
So I don't get in trouble with my wife. I don't buy his food. He lost his wallet.
I know.
And so because of because of that, he didn't have any money on him for food, and I can't let this guy go. Do the Pittsburgh Pro 2 weeks out and not eating meals. Like he's leaving the gym with no food. So I don't do it all the time. But I that day got him some meals, and I got to make sure that not only Steve but any athlete. I don't want him to go into a show at a disadvantage where they're not even eating. So
right.
I do what I can, but I don't do that all the time. So Rita, if you're watching, don't think anything.
Oh, good Lord. Okay. Yeah, I had my. I know, man. I've lost on the way back from Toronto Pro last year. Thank God it wasn't on the way there, but in LaGuardia, my wallet fell out while I was in the stall. Going number 2. Somebody snapped it up, and I was out of luck, just like you were at the gym the other day. So
Oh my God.
it sucks, man. I know it sucks. Then you got to go get your license. You got to get your credit cards all over everything. Yeah, it's rough. Keep your wallet, people. Keep it close. Don't let it get away from you. All right.
Are you guys coming down for the show this weekend, or?
We're looking into having some coverage. I'm not going to be there, but we're looking to get some nice video and interviews and stuff like that for sure. It's a pretty big deal, that show, especially you got the top 10 of the Olympia basically guest posing, right?
Yes. I can't wait to see that. I'll meet some of those guys. And
you're going to meet everybody. They're all going to be there. Yeah, it's an awesome lineup. Well, I want to wish you the best of luck, Steve. I'm glad I was able to hear some of your story and learn a little bit about you. All I knew about you was you had this great physique, but now we know a little bit about the man behind that physique. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ron. It's a pleasure, and you're gonna hear a lot more. We're gonna keep you guys updated with a lot of things. So
yeah, don't be afraid to do publicity and pictures and all that stuff. It's all part of the game, guy.
All right, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, so all you guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the MD channel. And I want to thank Steve again and wish him good luck, the Pittsburgh Pro this weekend. And to all you guys, thanks for watching the Ronline Report.